You have escaped the burning building. You have pulled yourself from the wreckage. You have walked away from the epicenter of the storm. And yet, you find yourself haunted. You ask, with a voice heavy with a burden that should not be yours to carry, "How do I stop feeling guilty for leaving?" You speak of guilt as if it were a logical consequence of your actions, a legitimate emotional debt that you owe. Let us be ruthlessly, surgically clear. The feeling that you are labeling as guilt is the single greatest lie you are still telling yourself. It is not guilt. It is a phantom echo, a neurochemical ghost, a poisonous residue left behind by a master manipulator. It is the final invisible chain that the narcissist wraps around your soul, designed to ensure that you remain their prisoner long after you have escaped the physical cell. This feeling is not a sign that you did something wrong. It is the ultimate proof of how profoundly right you were to leave, for it is a testament to the sheer depth of the psychological programming you endured. To feel this guilt is to feel the phantom limb pain of a part of you that was amputated to save your life. You are not here today to learn how to stop feeling it, as if it were an enemy to be fought. You are here to perform a cold, meticulous autopsy upon it, to dissect it under the harshest of lights, to expose its fraudulent origins with such blinding clarity that it dissolves into the nothingness from which it was spawned. We are not here to erase the feeling. We are here to expose the con artist who planted it in your heart. To understand this phantom guilt, we must first dissect the diabolical genius of its creation. It was not an accident. It was engineered. The narcissist, with the predatory instinct of a parasite, identified your greatest virtues and systematically inverted them into the very instruments of your subjugation. Your empathy, that beautiful luminous quality that allows you to feel for others, was the primary target. It was identified, isolated, and then weaponized against you. From the very beginning, you were conditioned to be the emotional caretaker of a black hole, the sole regulator for their chaotic inner state. You were made responsible for their moods, their happiness, their failures, their very sense of self. When they were happy, it was because you were a good source of supply. When they were miserable, it was presented, subtly or overtly, as your fault. You were trained, day after day, to carry the weight of their emotional world. Now that you have left, your empathetic soul continues to run this defunct program. You feel guilty because you have been conditioned to believe that their pain, their rage, their loneliness, their narcissistic injury at being abandoned is your responsibility to manage. You feel the same pang of guilt a devoted nurse might feel for leaving the bedside of a patient who was actively poisoning them. Secondly, you were likely cast not in the role of a partner, but in the role of a savior. The narcissist presented you with the irresistible narrative of a deeply wounded, misunderstood soul, a tragic hero whom only your unique love and patience could possibly heal. Your departure, therefore, feels not like an act of self-preservation, but like an act of ultimate betrayal. You feel guilty because you are abandoning your sacred mission to fix them. You must see the brutal truth. This mission was a scam. They never wanted to be healed. They wanted a lifelong, unpaid, 24/7 caretaker for their pathology. Your guilt is the lament of a rescuer realizing the person they were trying to save was not drowning, but was, in fact, the anchor trying to pull them to the bottom of the sea. Furthermore, this feeling you call guilt is the most potent and painful withdrawal symptom of a trauma bond. This was not love. Love is a garden. This was a war zone with intermittent ceasefires. A trauma bond is a powerful, addictive connection, forged not through mutual respect and affection, but through intense cycles of abuse and intermittent reward. It is the Stockholm Syndrome of the soul, the moments of love bombing, the fleeting kindnesses, the crocodile tears. These were not evidence of their love. They were calculated doses of a drug administered to keep you addicted, to keep you hoping, to keep you tied to the source of your pain. Breaking this bond creates a neurochemical chaos in your brain and body that feels identical to profound grief and guilt. You feel as though you have betrayed a deep and meaningful connection because the intensity of the bond masqueraded as intimacy. Your guilt is not an indicator of your wrongdoing. It is the shriek of an addiction being starved. It is the pain of your body detoxing from a poison you had mistaken for nourishment. Compounding this is the ghost of the abuser that they have successfully installed within your own mind. The narcissist may be physically gone, but their voice remains. A cruel ventriloquist's dummy that now speaks with your own inner voice. This is the internalized abuser. It repeats their criticisms, their judgments, their narrative. It whispers to you in your quietest moments. You were the selfish one. You weren't patient enough. You abandoned them when they needed you most. You are the bad guy. This internal voice is reinforced by the memory of their smear campaign, the lies they told the world about you, which you, on some level, began to believe yourself. The guilt you feel is the echo of you agreeing with their propaganda, the final surrender to their distorted reality. Therefore, the path to liberating yourself from this phantom guilt is not through fighting, denial, or self-flagellation. It is through a radical act of conscious, unwavering awareness. You must become a silent, detached, and forensic observer of this feeling when it arises. You must learn to witness its arrival without becoming its victim. When the wave of guilt washes over you, when your stomach clenches and your heart aches with the feeling that you have done something terrible, you must not say to yourself, "I feel guilty." That is an act of identification. It is agreeing that the feeling is a legitimate part of you. Instead, you must practice a new, revolutionary inner dialogue. You must say, with the cool detachment of a scientist observing a chemical reaction, "Ah, there it is. There is the programming. There is the old conditioning. There is the withdrawal symptom of the trauma bond. There is the ghost of the warden rattling the bars of an empty cell." By consciously and deliberately relabeling the feeling, you sever your identification with it. You are not feeling guilty. You are observing a programmed response. You are witnessing the echo of a lie. In doing this, you are not suppressing the feeling. You are holding it up to the light. You are meeting the ghost not with fear, but with recognition, and a ghost cannot survive being seen for what it truly is. This practice of mindful disidentification is the sword that cuts the final, invisible chain. You must, in parallel, embark on a mission of radical remembering, not remembering the relationship, but remembering who you were before it. You must excavate the true self that lies buried beneath the rubble of their programming. Remember your laughter, your interests, your peace, your innate sense of worth that existed entirely outside of their judgment. True freedom is not the absence of the ghost's whisper. It is the ability to hear that whisper and know, with absolute, unshakable certainty, that it is not your voice. It is seeing the mirage in the desert, and instead of running towards it, simply acknowledging its existence and continuing on your path, knowing with every cell in your body that it is not, and never was, water.